Okay, welcome to part 3 of presenting Animar, Soul of Elements. We just left off with Magus the Unseen. So, she's just fun. And nobody expects her. I've never seen anybody else play her. It's just one of those cards that there are so bloody many cards, it's not surprising that there are some good ones, some that are quite useful in Commander that nobody knows about because there's just so damn many cards to keep track of. So anyway, she's a 1/1 wizard for 1 colorless and a blue. You can spend a colorless and a blue, untap target artifact an opponent controls and can control it till end of turn. If that was an artifact creature, it has haste, and you can use any of its abilities require. Basically, it has haste. It's the old wording that they had before the 6th edition update, and they started cleaning up the templates. When you lose control of the artifact, tap it. So many mana rocks around. You have to spend 2, but let's say you spend 2 and you get a hold of a Gilded Lotus. Well, you're still going to net 1, and you deny it to your opponent. And at the end of the turn, when it goes back to them, it will be tapped. And if they're using that as part of to keep mana up for counter spells, well, they won't have it. Or if they have some artifact creature, and you have something in your deck that sacrifices creatures, which I do, foreshadowing, then you can get rid of the creature permanently. Well, it'll go in the graveyard, and they could probably bring it back. But anyway, she's just fun. She comes into play quick. Puts a +1/+1 counter on Animar if he's in play and he sees her come down. And it's just one of those cards that's nice to look at. I really wish Kaya Foglio would come back as a Magic artist. Phil too, but Phil's just too goofy for Magic these days. But Kaya, she can do serious. I'm not sure if Phil can do serious. Okay, Plaxcaster Frogling. This is part of the protection suite, mainly to protect Animar. So, 1 colorless, blue-green, for a graft. It comes into play with 3 +1/+1 counters. And when another creature comes into play, I can move one of those counters onto it. Now, I can spend 2, and target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it cannot be the target of spells or abilities this turn. So if the Frogling is in play, and somebody's going to try to hit Animar, say with a Beacon of Destruction, I can give him a Shroud until the end of turn, or any of my other creatures that have counters. This version of Animar, a lot of my creatures don't endemically have counters. It's not a major theme of the deck. It's there because it pumps up Animar himself, but it's not a major theme of this build. So, speaking of counters, Fathom Mage. 4 for a 1/1. Evolve. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if it has greater power or toughness than Fathom Mage gets a +1/+1 counter. Whenever she gets a +1/+1 counter on her, I may draw a card. So this is part of the card draw suite. Ketria Triome. Forest Island Mountain. I really don't know why it needs cycling. Okay, I guess it's cool that they put another ability onto it, but I just never cycled them. Island. Plaxmanta. Okay, again, another card designed to protect mainly Animar. So, 2 for a 2/2 flasher. When it comes into play, creatures I control cannot be the target spells or abilities this turn. So he flashes into play, and my creatures gain Shroud. If I don't spend green, if I don't cast it for blue and green, at the end of the turn I might sacrifice it. So if I cast it for red and blue, it's basically just a spell. Because at the end of the turn I will no longer have this creature. Now, it still will put a counter on Animar if he's in play, because it's still a creature coming into play. even if it's going to die at the end of the turn. Alright, so here's the infinite combo. Palinchron with Animar. So basically, if I have enough lands, and I have Animar and a Palinchron, I can just play it, bounce, play, bounce it. Eventually I get to the point where I'm only paying 2 blue, because there'd be so many counters in Animar. I'm paying 4 to bounce Palinchron back to my hand, and I'm untapping 7 lands every time I do this. So at some point, with enough lands, I can do this so often. Our Animar just becomes arbitrarily large. They don't like to use infinite anymore. And I can either smash him into somebody or fling him, as you will see once we get to that card. Forest. Farhaven Elf. 3 for a 1/1 Elf Druid. Comes into play, search the library for a basic land card, put it into play tapped, and then shuffle. Part of the make sure I get my colors suite. Okay, Whim of Wrath, again, another card to protect. And maybe you're picking up the... maybe I should just say that a major sub-theme of this deck is protecting Animar. So, Whim of Wrath. 1 blue, buy back 2. Change the text or target permanent by replacing all instances of one color word or basic land type with another until end of turn. So, somebody's going to hit him with something blue. I can change white to blue, thereby causing the effect of fizzle. At the end of the turn it goes back to black and white. Somebody's going to hit him with, again, Beacon of Destruction. Then I can change black or white to red. And the buyback is pretty cheap. I mean, 3, it's not that bad. And you can use it to screw with your opponents. If any of them is going to have some effect that triggers off land type or a color, you can say, actually, that doesn't say what you think it said. At least until the end of the turn. So, fun card. Solemn Simulacrum. One of the colorless creatures, so I don't have to worry about the colors. If Animar has 4 counters, he's just free. Just put him down there. Go find a basic land, put it in play tapped. He's a 2/2. And when he dies, I get a card. Zealous Conscripts, 5 for a 3/3 haste. When she comes to the battlefield, gain control of target permanent until end of turn. Untap it. It gains haste until end and permanent. Could be anything. Somebody has Guy's Cradle. I can snatch it, tap it, use it. Somebody has a Planeswalker. I never thought of that before, actually. Usually I use this on creatures, and so it started to kind of get cemented in my head that this is for creatures, but it's permanent. So I can take a Planeswalker, and it gains haste. Something to think about. Imperial Recruiter. 3 for a 1/1. Comes into play, search the library for a creature card of power no greater than 2. Reveal it, put it in my hand, shuffle. Typically he's going to go find my Mystic Snake. Or Fencer. 9 times out of 10. If I have him in play and I don't have a counter creature, that's what he's going to do. He's going to go find me a counter spell creature just so I can have it in my hand and look at it. Bloom Tender. 2 for a 1/1 Elf Druid. Tap. Add 1 mana for each color among permanents I control. So, if Animar's in play, and I have her in play, tap, and she gives me blue, green, red. So, obviously, she's only good in decks that are 3 colors to 5. And she's another one that, my god, the foil, it got up to, I think it's over 100 euros now. So, I know she got a reprint. I don't think it did anything to the original full price, really. Forest. Oko, Thief of Crowns. Yes, I have Broko Oko in this deck. Again, what the hell were they thinking when they made this card? Did they have any actual players test it? So 3, 1 colorless, blue-green, Planeswalker that has 4 loyalty for 3, and its first 2 abilities add loyalty. +2, create a food token, who cares? +1, target artifact creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk creature with base power toughness 3/3. So whatever the hell that was, it's now just an elk. It's a 3/3. Maybe it got bigger, maybe it didn't, but whatever ability it had, gone. So you're a goblin wielder that you're relying on. Nah, it got bigger, but stupider. And you can't use it for what you needed to use it for. And the -5 ability, exchange control of target artifact or creature control and target creature and opponent controls to power 3 less. That's just kind of there. Really, his middle ability is what he's all about, isn't it? The first one, who cares? The ultimate, maybe it becomes relevant, but typically who cares? Spell Skite to protect Animar. 2 colors for a 0/4 artifact horror. Blue Phyrexian mana, change the target of target spell or ability to Spell Skite. So 2 life or blue, somebody's going to target Animar, instead they target Spell Skite. So yes, as I continue, I'm really thinking that I'll say the themes of this deck are Eldrazi, Morph, and Protect Animar. You have my Hollow. So this is one of the other cards that provides only colorless mana. Add 1 colorless mana to my mana pool, or green, regenerate target creature. Siobhan Reef. Mulldrifter, really nice in this deck because it only has 1 color in its mana cost. Requires only 1 colored mana, rather. I could also evoke it, and if I evoke it, he'll still get the counter if he's in play. Fauna Shaman, so survival of the fittest on legs. 2 for a 2/2 elf shaman. Green, discard a creature card, search for library for a creature card, show it to everybody, put it in my hand, shuffle my library. Like I said, survival of the fittest on legs. I remember when that set came out, she was really in demand. And after a couple weeks, didn't really go anywhere. Peregrine Drake. 5 for a 2/3 and comes into play and tap up to 5 lands. So again, virtually well. It's more convoluted, but if I have the Cloudstone Curio, Peregrine Drake, and some Morph creature or artifact creature enough counters in Animar, I can still do the infinite combo as I can with Pelincron. It's just takes more steps. Okina, Temple to the Grandfathers. So, completing the cycle, I have Manamo, I have Shinka, I have Okina. Add 1 green on my mana pool or green tap. Target legendary creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Not the most impressive of the 3, but it can help. Okay, so here's my life gain. Here's what I was thinking when I was looking at Spike Weaver, Spike Feeder. Okay, Spike Feeder 3 comes into play a 2/+1/+1 counter, so it comes into play for 3 as a 2/2. 2, remove a +1/+1 counter from it, and put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Or, for free, remove a +1/+1 counter from Spike Feeder and gain 2 life. So obviously if I have Forgotten Ancient in play, every turn just keep moving a couple of counters over to the Spike Feeder and have it just sitting around, so if I'm getting hit for something big or I need to buff up my life total so I don't get overrun and killed, I've got a way to gain life. At instant speed, no less. That's the other great thing about this card. You can do that at instant speed. Okay, speaking of instant speed, this guy doesn't have haste, but once he's ready, Or what do we have here? 6 for 4/4 Giant. Sacrifice a creature. Bloodshot Cyclops deals X damage to target creature or player. X is the sacrifice creature's power. After the first encounter, the goblins named him Chuck. Wonder how many non-English speakers get that joke. Anyway, so let's say Animar has an ungodly amount of counters. And I have Bloodshot Cyclops out. I can smash into somebody with Animar and kill them with commander damage and an ungodly amount of counters. And then Chuck can tap and throw Animar at somebody else to kill them. So I can take out 2 people in 1 turn with Animar and Chuck. Huh. Maybe I should call him Chuck Norris. Forest. Nalia, God of the Hunt. 4 for a 6/6 God. Indestructible. As long as my devotion to green is less than 5, she isn't a creature. Yeah, sure. Other creatures I control have trample. That's really what she's in there for. Give all other creatures trample. And if I have the mana, I can spend 4. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Typically she's there to see if she gets turned on. If I get the devotion, give everything trample. Okay, so I had Clouds from Curio. I also have Equilibrium. 3, 1 colorless, blue for an enchantment. Whenever a creature comes into play, whenever I successfully cast a creature spell, I may pay 1 to return target creature to its owner's hand. Jesus Christ, I should probably stop and get something to drink, but I'm about done. Okay, so anyway, basically, new wording. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control after you cast it, I guess it would say, if you spend 1 more, you can bounce something. It doesn't have to be yours. Move right along. Lawan, Cephalid Empress. 4 for a 2/3 Cephalid Legend. When she comes into play, return all blue creatures your opponents control to their hands, and they can't play blue creatures anymore. Bang! Lawan comes down. All of you pick up your blue creatures, and you can't put them back into play until she's gone. Of course, it sucks if somebody has some kind of clone effect and copies her, then I can't play blue creatures, and Animar is back in my hand. But it's a risk I'm willing to take. Urabrask, the Hidden. 5 for 4/4 Legendary Praetor. Creatures I control have haste. Creatures my opponents control into the battlefield tapped. So, I don't have a lot of ways of giving my creatures haste, but the ways that I have don't mess around. He just says, yeah, everybody has haste. Get some. Mountain. And that's the end. So, that was Animar. Sold the elements. Later on, I'll show you the other build of Animar that I started talking about earlier, and then I got sidetracked. So I've got a version of Animar where I take out a lot of the morph creatures, the Eldrazi, and I put in Hydras. So it becomes Animar, Soul of Hydras. And then I have a lot more things that deal with +1/+1 encounters and doubling them. But that'll be another video.